today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering High Desert Brutality 2024, Over the Top. Alright, this last stage for me, what did you have to do on this stage? Well, from a position on a parapet, basically like you're simulating looking over the lip of a trench, you engage two very small auto poppers, roughly 100 plus yards away, and you had to hit them in a 1-2, 1-2 pattern. You did have the option before doing that of engaging a 700-yard target with up to 3 rounds for a bonus on this stage. Then after, so you tried for the bonus, if you didn't get it, then you tried for those auto poppers. Then you, instead of going over the top like the name implies, you went around the berm, and there was a series of tank traps and other obstacles out there, and from each of those you had to get 4 hits, 1 at 200, 2 at 300, there was 2 targets there, and then a 400-yard target. And these were challenging targets because depending on where you were in the thing is how visible they were, and where you stood. Like standing up, the 400-yard target was somewhat difficult to see. Down low behind a scope, it was a whole lot easier to see. If you favored too far to the right, the left-hand 300-yard target was almost impossible to see, but if you got in just the right position, it was very easy to see. That's one of the perspectives here in the video that you will see, that sometimes you're seeing the target because the cameraman could move to the best vantage point, whereas the shooter didn't exactly have that advantage from where he was shooting. So let's go ahead, take a look at my run, and we're going to have a lot to talk about on the other side.
Shooter, give me a nod when you are ready.
I am ready.
Shooter indicates ready. Stand by. Hit. Left edge. Hit. Do it again.
If I can see it.
Yeah, they kind of smoke screen themselves, huh? Hit. Hit. Down off the berm. Around. Assault, assault, assault. Ah! Statics. Hit. 1 hit each.
Okay, going to the one directly above it.
300. Copy. Low right. Edge. Maybe quarter target. Same spot. Low right quarter target. Low quarter target. Windage is great. Low quarter target, same spot. Bring it up. High 1 target. Too much. Bracket it. Hit!
Okay, going to the one to the left of that.
Copy that. High right. Target. Hit! 400. High 2, 3 targets.
Really?
Or maybe it skipped. High right. 1 target. Low, half a target. Bring it 1 target. Bring it up 1 target. Ah. Helmet. Bring it, come up, way up.
Really?
I think he shot at the wrong target.
Yeah, you shot at the 300 there.
Oh, I did. Yeah, you're right.
Just off the left edge. No call, that was just around it. Can't tell where. You can also move on from it if you want.
I'm going to try one more shot and then I will move on.
One more shot, copy. Your last shot was just on it. High right, edge. Keep going, 40 seconds. Give me those 200s, easy. Hit! 300. Left, low left edge. Low, one target. Bring it up. Hit! Right edge. Hit!
Moving.
Moving. Par! Unloaded, show clear.
Alrighty, well, that was rough. Not gonna lie, it was the last stage, and everything just kind of ran out of gas at that point. Picked up 10 penalties on this stage, just get that out there right away, and you can see why. It was targets unengaged. I had wasted entirely too much time trying to get my hits. So got the two at the first tank trap. Well, let's back up. The poppers came fairly easy, missed one. Only thing there was time because like on my second hit, it kicked up so much dust that I literally had to let it dissipate. Again, the cameraman's perspective was a little different. Through the scope, it was completely smoked screen where I couldn't identify a target, and I had to let that settle. Then dashing off the hill. Instead of going over the top like the stage name is, we dashed around the side, but whatever. Assaulted up to that first tank trap. 200-yard hit came, 300 yards, gave me a little bit of trouble. For a reminder, if you haven't watched the rest of the series, this particular rifle zeroed for a different round than the rounds I brought. I packed the right caliber, wrong rounds, so the rifle was not zeroed to the rounds that I was using, so I was having to offset. If you've watched the other 6 videos in this series, you can see I mostly had that offset figured out. Thought maybe my problem here might have been wind, but now a review of the video and you look at the surrounding bushes, there's no perceptible enough wind to be causing me that much trouble. Although at the time I felt it and everything, and I was like, it's wind, but the video evidence doesn't support that. So that's just having an improper zero and some less than optimal marksmanship that really created the problems here. I will say, however, in the video you can make out, when it's zoomed in, you can make out the 400-yard target. From the naked eye, it was very difficult to see, and I really required the high magnification on the scope to really make it out from that low prone perspective versus somebody standing up with the camera at full height. Also at the 300-yard, the very left target, which was a rectangle that you saw, depending on where you stood, it was how visible it was. If you were standing directly behind the shooter, it was not visible at all at that first tank trap. You had to stand 1 or 2 meters off to the right for that to come out from behind a bush and really be visible. And in that perspective, it was easy to see. From the shooter's perspective, it was blending in pretty good. A bit of a challenge to see. The 400-meter target, as you see, I wasted a lot of time there. So at the second tank trap, after I got my first 3 hits, I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the penalty and see if I can make up and kind of reduce, because I knew time was going by. Especially as I heard the timer go off with its first beep. Unfortunately, by the time I got to the doghouse, I was out of time, and because I didn't get any of the shots there, and I already missed 200, 400, and I didn't get to the obstacle beyond the doghouse, that's where 10 penalties come from. So that just frickin' slaughtered my match, because with the 3 from the stage before, 13 penalties, yeah, that dropped me all the way down to 91st. On what had otherwise been a fairly decent run through. If I could have gotten a few less penalties, my placing would have been a lot higher. Just shows to show one dumpster fire can ruin the whole day. C'est la vie. I kind of sabotaged myself before I fired the first shot, so I got no one else to blame here but me. Overall, this was an interesting stage. Out of all 7 stages, this is the only one that was the truest of tests of your long-range ability, with many multiple long-range engagements as compared to the stage before, which had a few, not as many as this one, not as many as multiple repeats. This was the true long-range stage of the match and provided the biggest long-range challenge. Each of the stages in this match was challenging in its own way, from either running through a trench system to performing complicated tasks to going through a maze to running to multiple positions, firing different weapons other than your own, having to perform specific tasks under time constraints, to a lot of maneuvering in and out of vehicles. All those things were a great challenge. They presented good, challenging shooting situations, and no one stage was basically a repeat of another stage. All for this to keep you on your toes, keep you thinking, keep you moving, and keep you challenged. And there's not much more to ask out of a match than that. I will harp again here, as I did on my first video in the series, transmission, that 240-second par times is really, really awesome. 200-second limited timers is annoying. You know, there are timers out on the market that are fairly low cost that go way beyond 240 seconds, and I would encourage the in-range crew to upgrade the timers that they're using, because it is a mental FU that you hear the buzzer and your whole thing, oh darn, and you change, and then you're like, no, keep going, and you have to reset. I don't think in either of the stages where that happened to me that it would have changed anything if it hadn't gone off, but it's still annoying and messing with the shooter, and yeah, you guys can upgrade that. I mean, there's no reason not to. Overall, I hope you all enjoyed this. This was a fun match, and it was fun bringing it to you. So if you found it helpful and informative, please comment, like, and subscribe. And tune in for future match videos.